Imagine walking into work one morning, everything feels normal. Machines are running. People are smiling. Production targets are being discussed. And then suddenly, FDA inspectors are here. Within minutes, panic spreads across the building. Someone starts deleting files. Someone hides documents. Someone whispers, "Don't show them batch 47. But what happens next destroys careers, shuts down factories, and sometimes ruins entire companies forever. Today, we're diving into some of the most shocking FDA inspection horror stories ever seen in the pharmaceutical industry. From hidden contamination, to fake laboratory data, to facilities so dirty inspectors compare them to horror movie scenes, these are real situations that triggered warning letters, import bans, recalls, lawsuits, and global scandals. And trust me, some of these stories are so unbelievable, you'll wonder how these companies operated for years without getting caught. So stay till the end, because the final story is one of the most terrifying inspection disasters the pharma world has ever witnessed. This is PharmaHealth Insights, where we uncover the realities of pharma, quality, regulations, and the stories the industry never wants to talk about. The day everything changed. Most people think FDA inspections are routine. Clipboards. Questions. Documentation review. But experienced pharma professionals know the truth. An FDA inspection can feel like a courtroom trial, mixed with a military operation. Inspectors don't just check documents. They observe behavior. They watch body language. They notice hesitation. And sometimes, one tiny inconsistency leads them straight into a massive scandal. In many horror stories, it started with something small. A missing signature. A suspicious timestamp. A laboratory result that looked too perfect. That's all it takes. Because FDA investigators are trained to detect patterns. And once trust is broken, everything becomes suspicious. But what's the scariest part? Sometimes the inspectors already know something before entering the facility. Whistleblower complaints. Anonymous emails. Customer complaints. Market adverse events. Sometimes, the inspection has already begun long before the inspectors arrive. The data deletion nightmare. One of the biggest FDA nightmares involves something called data integrity violations. And if you work in pharma, those 3 words alone can destroy sleep. Because once the FDA suspects data manipulation, the entire credibility of the company collapses. Imagine this scenario. An inspector asks for chromatographic raw data. The analyst says, "Just 1 minute." Suddenly, people begin panicking. Why? Because the actual data doesn't match the reported results. Now imagine the inspector discovering deleted audit trails, unofficial testing records, hidden folders, backdated entries, shared passwords, trial injections never reported, failed results erased from systems. This has happened in multiple real inspections globally. Some companies were caught using test until pass practices. Meaning, if a batch failed, they simply repeated testing again and again until they got acceptable results. And then reported only the passing data, not the failures. Now think about the implications. Medicines reaching patients, based on manipulated quality records. That's not just regulatory noncompliance. That becomes a patient safety crisis. One FDA investigator reportedly described a facility atmosphere as employees behaving like they were hiding something everywhere we looked. Imagine hearing that written into an official report. The contamination horror stories. Now let's talk about something even more disturbing. Contamination. Because sometimes FDA inspectors don't find just documentation problems, they find conditions that make you question how products were ever released. There have been inspection observations involving mold growth near manufacturing areas, insects inside facilities, water leakage above production zones, rust particles, torn gowns, dirty equipment, unclean air handling systems, residue from previous products, and in some extreme cases, investigators observed employees touching critical areas improperly during operations. Imagine taking a medicine manufactured in conditions like that. That's why GMP exists. Good manufacturing practices are not just paperwork. They are literally designed to protect human life. An inspector walks into a supposedly clean manufacturing room. But then notices something strange. A dark stain spreading across a ceiling panel. They ask maintenance records to be reviewed. Turns out, the leak had been ongoing for weeks. And products had continued to be manufactured underneath. Now imagine the regulatory consequences. Potential contamination risk. Product recall risk. Patient safety risk. One ignored leak can become a multi-million-dollar disaster. The Showtime facility. Some companies prepare for FDA inspections like students preparing for final exams. Suddenly, SOP training starts overnight, documents get updated urgently, areas get repainted, employees are coached on what to say, logbooks magically become complete. But experienced inspectors can often detect inspection theater. Facilities that look artificially prepared. Because true quality culture cannot be created in 2 days. And horror stories often emerge when employees give conflicting answers. Imagine this: the operator says one process is followed. The SOP says something else. The supervisor gives a third explanation. At that moment, inspectors realize the system exists only on paper. That's when inspections become dangerous. Many employees later admitted they were pressured to sign documents they never performed. Think about that pressure. Young analysts, fresh employees, people afraid to lose jobs. Sometimes toxic quality culture becomes the real root cause behind inspection disasters. The warning letter that changed everything. An FDA warning letter is not just a document. Sometimes, it becomes the beginning of a company's collapse. Because once public trust disappears, everything changes. Clients stop placing orders. Exports get affected. Audits increase. Investors panic. Employees resign. And competitors watch everything closely. Some companies spent years rebuilding reputation after serious FDA observations. Others never recovered. The most dangerous thing isn't always one big violation. Sometimes it's repeated failures. When regulators see the same issues again and again, they start believing management itself cannot control the system. And once regulators lose confidence in management integrity, recovering becomes extremely difficult. The human side of inspections. Behind every horror story, there are human emotions nobody talks about. QA managers unable to sleep. Analysts terrified of interviews. Plant heads under massive pressure. Employees worried about layoffs. During serious inspections, entire facilities can feel emotionally frozen. Phones ringing constantly. Emergency meetings. Consultants rushing in. Teams rewriting investigations overnight. Some professionals describe it as the most stressful period of their careers. And yet, many of these disasters were preventable. Not through expensive technology, but through honesty, strong systems, continuous compliance, real GMP culture. Because quality cannot be managed only during inspections. It must exist every single day. Lessons the industry learned. So what do these FDA horror stories actually teach us? Never manipulate data. Because eventually, systems reveal the truth. Documentation is not a formality. If it isn't documented properly, from a regulatory perspective, it never happened. A clean-looking facility does not equal compliance. Culture matters more than appearance. Employees must feel safe reporting problems. Fear-driven organizations create hidden risks. Quality is everyone's responsibility. Not just QA, not just QC, everyone. From operators to top management. One former industry professional once said something unforgettable: the FDA rarely destroys companies. Companies destroy themselves before the FDA arrives. And honestly, that may be the most chilling truth of all. Because in almost every major inspection disaster, warning signs already existed. People knew problems were happening. But silence continued. Until inspectors arrived. And everything exploded. FDA inspections are not meant to create fear. They exist because patients trust medicines with their lives. Every tablet, every injection, every bottle represents someone's mother, father, child, or loved one. And that responsibility is bigger than production targets, deadlines, or profits. If you found this video insightful, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone working in pharma or healthcare. And comment below, what's the most shocking inspection observation you've ever heard about? This is PharmaHealth Insights, and I'll see you in the next video.